Bruce, I'm excited to ask you, what happened when you guys decided to strap the rocket to the Ultimate Warrior?
It's interesting you say we guys decided to strap the rocket to the Ultimate Warrior. When the Ultimate Warrior first came in, he had been wrestling in Dallas. He had broken in the Memphis territory, started out in California, went to Memphis, then came to Mid-South, and left Mid-South unceremoniously running from Bill Watts' baseball bat one night. But I
don't know that story. Smarten me up on that. What's that story?
It was during a time the Blade Runners were there, which was Rock and Sting, and obviously we know what the career of Sting became. And there was a time Bill Watts had come back. It was like the Stampede Again or the Last Stampede Again, something like that. But Bill had a baseball bat he used to use and a cattle prod, and last time that we saw a guy by the name of, I think his name was David Strawn. He was Korchenko, and then shortly after that, it was Rock, Blade Runner Rock, who was Jim Hellwig, and they just had enough of Bill and left the territory and didn't come back. But Hellwig went on to wrestle as a Dingo Warrior in World Class Championship Wrestling, and he did okay there. Gary Hart took a liking to him, and Gary helped Hellwig along the way. And he actually experienced some mid-card status there and did okay at the time. But Hellwig was looking for something else and came up to the WWF at the time. And obviously, Vince was enamored by the physique of the Ultimate Warrior because he was built like a Greek god. He was a huge guy. And I'll tell you a funny story about Warrior. He had come in, he'd done some dark matches and was working what we called C-Towns. And the C-Towns were, you ran an A-Town, which would, for argument's sake, be in New York. You'd run a B-Town, let's call that maybe Cincinnati, Ohio. And then you ran your C-Towns, which were
Huntsville,
Alabama, things like that. No, Huntsville would probably be a B-Town, but yeah, it could be a C-Town sometimes. But it was your smaller venues.
Right.
It was
5, 6, 7, 8,000 seat joints.
Yeah, or even smaller than that sometimes. But it was an opportunity to get guys work, and at the time we were hot, so it's just the WWF brand in and of itself drew. But we put Warrior on those, and he was traveling around. So a funny story, at the very first Survivor Series in Richland, it was in Ohio, it was a suburb of Cleveland, and we're there, it's Thanksgiving Day, and there's a huge catering layout. And we had turkey and sauerkraut. Why we had sauerkraut? We know why we had sauerkraut, because the gentleman that ordered the catering was German and always had sauerkraut for his Thanksgiving. So we had turkey and all this stuff. But the Warrior, Hellwig, is going through the line and loading his plate of mashed potatoes and dressing and just tons and tons of turkey and sweet potatoes. Had 2 or 3 pieces of... And Hulk is watching this and seeing Hellwig go through the line and says, that big bastard can do it. I can do it. And Hulk loads up his plate. And after Hulk finishes, he's all blowed up and stuffed to the gills. And then he finally, brother, how the hell can you eat that much? He says, and then go out and work. He says, oh, I'm not working. Hulk had loaded himself up thinking, I can do that. And yeah, Hellwig wasn't working. But anyway, Hellwig came in and worked the C-Towns, got a little of experience behind him. And when we were ready to debut him on TV, the dilemma came up as to what the hell do you call him? And Vince didn't know what the hell a Dingo Warrior was. Not sure what a Dingo was at the time.
What month did he come in?
I have no idea.
Online leads us to believe he came in summer of 87, which would have been right after you got there, right?
Yeah, he did come right after I got there. Yes, as a matter of fact. And he came in and, like I said, worked the C-Towns. But when it was time to put him on TV, Vince, who had these big production meetings prior to TV, is okay, we got this kid coming in, and he wrestled down south as the Dingo Warrior. You guys have all seen him. And they had used the name the Dingo Warrior in the towns when Warrior worked in house shows. But Vince was like, I need a new name for him. I don't like Dingo Warrior. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know what the hell that is. Let's come up with a name for him.
Was there any thought given at the time that Kerry Von Erich was using the modern day Warrior and that the Road Warriors were on top. How many Warriors do we need?
The exact two examples that were brought up in the meeting. And that was the argument not to use Warrior because of they got an Ultimate Warrior and you got the Road Warriors. And I believe it was Jack Lanza who made the comment that this guy could still be a warrior. He could be the Ultimate Warrior. Wow. And Vince liked that. So he was dubbed the Ultimate Warrior. And I believe Vince's comment was along the lines of, if it worked for those guys, then it'll work for this kid, and he'll be the Ultimate Warrior. And he was born.